No, it's right
This is
here.
your, that's the workbench. Go back. So you already have it open behind
Okay.
this. This is the workbench. Okay.
Okay.
So this is where you can see, this is a UI where you can see your databases. Okay.
Okay.
So go on top, you see database. Click on database there on top. File,
Yeah.
edit. Yeah. Connect to
Yeah.
database.
Okay.
And you can give the database name. Okay. My connect. Yeah. And say okay.
Okay.
Okay. On the left side, can you show me what all things you see on the left side? Navigator. You see management. Okay. We don't need that right now. Instance, shutdown, startup. Okay. We don't need it. Scroll down. Okay.
That's
So
all.
these are, yeah. So these are all your administration window. Okay. So database, we have development role and administration. We are not focusing on administration. So we can ignore all this for now. Okay. But you can import and restore. That means if you have a database created by somebody else, you can import into it. You can export. Export is where you have a database. Now you want to move to somewhere else. You want to move to some other machine. So you can export it and later there you do import. So import, export. At the bottom, you see the schemas. Click on schemas. Okay, so this is database and these are the schemas. Okay, schemas are like your sub databases. Sakila, Sysworld, LearnDB, these are your, yes, Pujita. Just okay, follow this and then you can watch the video later, Pujita. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So when you open the workbench, you will see administration and schemas. Schemas are your databases. Okay. So generally, database is logically divided into sub database called as schema. Okay. So that all the files information that you have, let's say in one database, LearnDB is secure. If you have access to say LearnDB, right, and you do not have access to Shakila, you will not be able to see the information related to Shakila. Okay, that's the purpose of security is one purpose of creating different schemas and as well as logical. Okay, so if you have HR database or sales database or finance database, you create different schemas. So logically also they are separate. Okay, so if you need to get into sales, you have sales schemas to look into, and security wise also it works well. Okay, now you go to LearnDB. Okay, let's go to world. Okay, expand that down arrow.
Okay.
So see, it has tables, views, stored procedures, and functions. Okay, hold on, don't click anything. So these are called database objects. Okay, database objects. So there are 4 objects that you can see. There are many more. Okay, but these are like table is the basic. Table has to be there. So all the information that we save in the database is saved as a table format. Okay. The table contains all the information, and we will learn how to create tables, how to add values to table, how to read values from table. That's the purpose of doing database programming. So tables, then views. Views are they are like different versions of tables. Okay, the data is not saved in views. Okay, you save in table, but you can view as database. So now let's say my table has. So table means what? It will be in row and table column format, right? Row and column. Each column will have unique information, right? And rows is the data that you store. So let's say if you talk about student record, you have student roll number, student name, class, age, date of birth, maybe your phone number, email ID, etc. All those are columns, and each row is record, right? So you'll enter details of each student as a row. So that will be in tables. Now views is a, let's say I just said, right, let's say we have 10 columns. Okay, but I don't want everybody to look at more than 5 columns. Okay, I want 5 columns to be visible. So what I'll do, I'll create a view, and the view it's a subset of table, right? So in the view I'll create where I'm showing only 5 columns, and I give you access to view. So even though table has 10 columns, but you don't know where those values are, because I'm giving you permission only to view 5 rows, not 5 rows, but basically 5 columns, right? So you can create multiple views on tables. So as I said, views do not store data. Data is stored in table. View is a different view, different way to look at tables. Okay, and then stored procedure functions. Stored procedure or functions, they are same as functions or method that we have in Python. Difference between that is stored procedure doesn't return anything and function will return. Okay, so in database, stored procedures are the ones that that does not return, that do not have return, is called as stored proc, and which performs or which returns a value that are as functions. Okay, purpose is same. Okay, these are like multiples of code, and the code that will be there here are your SQL code. Okay, we call it SQL. SQL code will be there in stored procedure. SQL is common. Okay, but stored procedure is different to different database. Okay, Oracle uses PL SQL, the SQL Server uses T-SQL, Transact SQL, etc. And it's more or less like form of SQL only. Okay, but you have multiple queries that you have written. So we are not going to get into stored procs and functions. We will see how to write our own query and fetch data from table. Now you expand table. Click on that arrow, expand table, Danit.
Okay.
Okay, so how many tables are there in this?
3.
3. City, country, and country language. Okay, there are 3 tables. Now, these things are important because remember the project. Okay, for the project, again, you have to create your own database called library, right? And you have to add tables there. Okay. So now your task is to think. Okay, think how many tables or and of course, when we have discussions, right, you can think of how many tables we need, okay, and what should be the columns of those. That you do it on paper. How to do it in database, I'll tell you, okay, on Sunday. But on paper, you create database structure, okay. I will have one table where I will store this information. These are the columns. I'll have one more table where I will, create this. And Sunday, when we discuss, I'll tell you if there are any flaws in your discussion, in your design. Okay, now expand city. When you expand city, these are the columns that you will get. Click on the columns. So you see columns, indexes, foreign keys, triggers. Okay, these are again objects on table. Okay, columns, indexes, foreign keys will do. Triggers will not do. What triggers are? Triggers are like a stored proc. Okay, or query. It is executed automatically. Okay, we don't have to execute. Stored proc functions we have to call. Just like functions, when you write a function in Python, it doesn't get executed, right? You have to call it. Triggers, you say that, if there is some change. For example, let's say, you have 2 tables, okay, and if let's say if a new use, if there is a change in one table, let's say, okay, and you want some other data to be added in another table, okay. So what you can do is you can write a trigger on table A, okay. So manually you have to add data, right? You have to say, you have to use command to add data to table. But when you are adding the data to the table, the trigger is fired automatically. So there are some conditions. So that trigger will have 2 things. Trigger will have one condition on which it should get executed. Okay, it is executed automatically, right? So the condition based on what it should get executed, and second part is what it should do, right? So if you say that if there is a change in table A, entry should be made in table B. So you can say create trigger, okay, and you can say what it should do on update in table A, or on insert in table A, or delete on table A. If you say on delete on table A, it will get fired when data is deleted from table A. Okay, let's say you want to create a backup of things which have been deleted. So when you're adding something new, you'll add in the table. But when you want to delete it, that's when you want backup table to store this information. So you can create a trigger there. Okay, so trigger is used to trigger set of operations on a given condition. We will not do that. Okay, but we focus on columns, how to write columns, indexes, and foreign keys. Okay, so here if you see, there are 5 columns, right? ID, name, country code, district, population. So this is table city, and it has 5 columns ID. So every row will have a unique ID. Okay, so that you can uniquely differentiate. So why do you all have a roll number? Okay, because our names could be same, right? There could be 2 people in the class with same name, right? So we need a value which will uniquely identify those members, right? So roll number, IDs, employee number, PAN card number, Aadhaar number. These are all unique values, and we can, identify a unique person. Okay. Now our both names could be same, but our Aadhaar number will not be same, right? So we can create that as a primary key. We call it as primary key. Okay. Primary keys are those which is used to uniquely identify the set of values or differentiate one record from another. Okay. So the primary key has to be unique. Okay. So we'll talk about keys in some detail. So keys are those which can uniquely identify. Okay. So when you say primary key will have some conditions that column cannot be empty, first of all, right? If you have 100 rows, all the 100 rows should have a value. Okay. And second column is that it has to be unique. Okay. So each row should have a value, and value should be unique so that none of the existing value matches to the one that you're entering. If you're entering the same duplicate value, it will throw error. Okay. You cannot enter same number. Okay. So that is to uniquely identify one row to another. So that's ID. Then you're putting your information in name, country code, district, population, etc. Now, okay, indexes are like your, indexes in the book. Dhwanit, can be on mute, please. Okay, so indexes are like your indexes in a book, right? So what's the purpose of index? If you want to go to a certain topic, you can look in the index and go there, right? So when you have millions of record, right, database can become slow to access, right? Because it has to find. If I give you 10 pages and ask you to find a topic, you can easily find in 10 pages. Maybe it'll take 10 minutes or 5 minutes to find. But if I give you 10,000 pages and I have to ask you to find a word, probably you may not be able to do it in 24 hours, right? So it becomes slow. As you add more and more data, it becomes slow for performance of the database. So indexes are created on primary key. Okay, so when you create a primary key, indexes are automatically created, and you can also create your own index. Okay, we can create our own indexes as well, but primary key index is automatically created by default because we need it. Okay, so when you are searching, you will say where roll number equal to this. I want all the student record of, let's say, a particular student. So it is easier to search on the roll number, because name, if you search, you might get more people, right? 5, 10 people. So you can search on roll number because roll number is unique. So when you're searching a roll number, like get me all the details where roll number is 120. Okay. So where roll number is 120 becomes a condition, right? So 120 is your roll number. So roll number, definitely your primary key will have indexes. Okay. It makes working or searching is faster purpose of index. Then foreign keys. Okay. See, sometimes you need to connect to different table. Now, if you see here, city and country, right? Country, let's say you have 20 countries in a database. Each country will have multiple cities, right? Okay, let's say each country has 10 cities. So you have 200 cities, correct? Now, it is not a good point to create one single table with country and cities, because country will have its own set of values, right? Country name. You can expand country. Let's see. Dhwanit, click on the country triangle. Yeah. Down. Yeah. And click on the columns. Country columns. Okay. So it has country code, name of the country, continent, where it is, region, surface area. Okay. Population, blah, blah, right? Government head of state, capital, etc. So these are the information which is specific to country. Now, if I have to add 5 cities here, there's no place to add. In the sense, if I add a city, right, but the head of state of all the cities will be same, isn't it? We're talking about head of country. The head of country for all the cities will be same. So it doesn't make sense to add cities also in the same table. So we created another table. The city and the country is linked. Okay, so the linking between two tables is done using foreign key. Okay, So foreign key means there is a link, okay, which will connect, okay, city to the country. Okay, so that's the foreign key is used to link two cities. Okay, so in one, the key that you're going to link, for example, you have all the cities, right? But city also, I want to know who is the head of state for a particular city. Now, we do not have a column for each of the city, right? Head of state, but we have head of state for a country. So what we have to do is first step is to find the name of the country for this city, right? If you know the name of the country of the city, then you can find head of the state from the country table. So you need to create a foreign key, okay, where you have the country code as an ID, and that is added to city code, okay, in the city table. So city table will have country code, okay, and of course, let's say if you have India as a code as 91, city like Delhi, Bombay, Chennai, okay, Hyderabad, Bangalore, okay, will have its own values like population, etc. And the last column will be country code, and country code will be 9191919191. Now, if I ask you who's the head of state of India, and you're at city Hyderabad, you will connect from Hyderabad to country India table using that foreign key, right? 91, you go and check in 91, and then in 91, you will check for head of state. So we are linking two tables here, okay? So that's the purpose of, okay, the foreign key, okay? Can you close the triangle, Ganit? Okay, so these are the things. So you know tables, we know what views are, right? We know columns, okay? We know the primary key, foreign key, okay? Again, here also you have to learn about data types. Okay, here also you have to learn about data types, because when you're storing values in a column, the values can be a string, can be a numeric, can be a float, can be a boolean, can be a date, right? So these are some of the values that can be stored. So there's a data type for each of the type of value. Just like we have data types in Python, SQL also has its own set of data types. So SQL, okay, its full form is Structured Query Language, SQL. We call it a SQL. So SQL has its own language, okay, and since it is to connect to a database, we have to respect it, right? So that's the language of database. So we have to respect it. So when we are doing Python, we execute SQL query or SQL language command using our Python command. Okay, we'll do that later. If you want to see the values there, double click on cities. Do you see double click on cities? You see anything? Okay, now double clicking is not giving you anything, right? No, double clicking.
Sorry,
I'm saying double clicking is not giving you any value, right, on city?
no, it's just saying city.
Okay, that's okay. Now you see here, bottom right, okay, sorry, bottom left, okay, bottom left, yeah,
Yeah.
see here. Can you scroll up a little bit? Information, can you, yeah, you'll see no. Put your cursor on information, yes, pull it up, yes.
Okay.
Similarly, on the right side also, make it move right, towards your right. Okay, so you see that, these are the columns. So ID, name, country code, district, population, these are columns. And what you see next to that is data type. Okay, so ID is integer. Okay, so INT stands for integer, so ID is integer, AI, and PK. PK stands for, can you guess? PK stands for primary key. So it's telling you that PK is the primary key for this, this table, right? So ID is the primary key for this table, city. Yes. AI is called auto increment. Okay. So
okay.
when you put in ID, right? ID will have values. So see, when you talk about roll number, right? So maybe roll number may not be in format, right? So for every value, you have to give a unique value. But when you mention that it is AI, okay, you mean to say that auto increment. So you'll give a condition, just like for loop, right? We're giving condition. Start value is 1, okay, and there will not be any end value. Okay, there will not be any end value in here. This is start value is 1 and increment by 1. So automatically you don't have to give value for ID. You don't have to give value for ID. Okay. What happens is ID is automatically taken the value. When you insert a value into city, you don't have to give values for ID. Okay. It will look at the last value. Okay, last value was 100, it will create 101. Last was 500, it will create 501. Automatically, it will add the value to the ID. So you don't have to remember, oh, what was my last number? I have to add +1, right? Sometimes, like employee ID and all, right? You need who is the last employee ID and then you +1, right? So if the last employee who joined was 1078, next employee will be 1079. So you can, instead of manually entering it, you can automate it. So that's the purpose of AI. The integer type, auto increment, and it is primary key. Name, character, string of size 35. Okay, it cannot take more than 35 size. Then country code. You see, country code is char3. Okay, it has a country code, and it will definitely be a foreign key. So go to city, expand that, click on that triangle, sleeping triangle, one in. Okay, and click on the foreign key now. The triangle, yes. See that? City IBFK1. Double click on that. City IBFK1. That's the name of the key. Okay, foreign key. Okay, that's the name of the foreign key, and we'll see when we look at the structure. We'll see that later. That it is a foreign key. Okay, and so see here on the information down, it says foreign key name is city IBFK1. Definition target. Target is country. Okay, so the target first name is country. The bracket is the column, okay, with which it is linked. Okay, so I cannot enter city Bangalore or city Hyderabad without entering the country India. First, I have to go. This is what it says, okay, because it is linked to the country table, right? So first you have to enter, because if you are entering country code here, you have to enter country code. The foreign keys, you have to enter country code, and you don't have a country code because when you enter the data country code, that's when you'll get a country code, right? When you enter the country in the table, that's when you get a country code, and then that's what you can add it here, right? So first you have to add country, and then you can add cities of the country. So this is how you are linking your column, which is country code, to another table. Okay, so see, table name in the schema has to be unique. In different schema, there can be duplicate names. Okay, so I have city, it is in world schema, and I can create another city in LearnDB. Okay, that way you can't, you can have duplicate, but within same schema you cannot have same name table. Okay, similarly within table you can have any column name. You cannot have duplicate column names in the same table, but you can have duplicate column names in different tables. Okay, so how do we access this? Is first you have to know the schema. First, database. You want to know which database it is in, then which schema, which table, and then we are able to access. So when we run the query, you'll see that you have to give the database name, you have to give the schema name, you have to give the table name, then you'll be able to access the data. Okay, so this is how typically database looks like, whether it's Oracle or SQL Server or Postgres or MySQL. Okay, more or less it will look like this. Okay, so yes, practice with it. Okay, work on the project, and we'll meet on Sunday. Next Sunday we will do our database programming. So Sunday I'll tell you we'll use MySQL only. Okay, we'll do our programming here, and on Monday we will start our Python programming to this. Okay, so Sunday class is important, right? Monday it will just be how to call using Python, but how to work with database we have to spend one full day on Sunday.